A conductor opens a single page and reads 24 staves at once, every instrument in the orchestra, all sounding in the same instant. The flutes, the horns, the timpani, the violins, the basses, each on its own line, all stacked from the top of the page to the bottom. To a beginner, that page looks like a wall of black dots. By the end of this lesson, it will look like exactly what it is, every part you already know how to read, simply piled up and lined up. This is a full score, and it is the last thing you need before you can honestly say you read music. So let us take that wall apart, one idea at a time, until the whole page opens up. Here is the single most important fact about a full score. Every staff is happening at the same time. You do not read a score the way you read a book, finishing one line before starting the next. The staves are braced together into one tall system, and they all play together. So picture a straight vertical line drop down the page. Everything that line touches, top to bottom, is one moment in time. That column is a single beat heard across the entire ensemble at once. The top staff might be a high flute, the middle a viola, the bottom a low cello, and when you read straight down that column, you are hearing the chord they make together. Read down for one instant, then slide the column to the right for the next instant. Down for harmony, right for time. Hold that picture, because everything else is built on it. Now, with 24 staves, how do you ever find anything? The answer is that the order is fixed, and it almost never changes. From the top of the page downward, it always goes the same way: woodwinds at the very top, then the brass below them, then the percussion in the middle, and the strings along the bottom. Flutes and oboes up high, horns and trumpets under them, drums in the center, and the violins, violas, cellos, and basses anchoring the floor. Because that order is always the same, you never hunt blindly. You want the trumpets? You drop into the brass band of staves, a third of the way down. You want the cellos? Straight to the bottom. The score is a building with the same floor plan every time, and once you know the plan, you can find any instrument in a heartbeat. The families are also grouped on the page so your eye can grab them as blocks. To the far left, a curly brace joins the staves that belong to one instrument, the way the two hands of a piano are braced into a grand staff. A straight bracket, instead, joins a whole family that plays together, all the strings under one bracket, all the woodwinds under another. So you are not even reading staff by staff. You are reading the brace and bracket groups, the strings as one body, the brass as another. The bar lines help too. A bar line is drawn straight down through every staff in a group at once, so the bar boundaries line up vertically. That means a column really is square. One bar across the flute lines up exactly with the same bar across the cello, and the whole ensemble turns the page together. One honest complication, and we will keep it light. Some instruments are written in a different key from the one they sound. A clarinet or a trumpet reads a part where the printed note and the heard note are not the same pitch. These are called transposing instruments, and the score shows you the page the player reads, not always the pitch your ear receives. You do not need to do that maths to read a score. Just know that for a few instruments, what is printed and what sounds can sit a step or two apart by design, and the conductor simply knows it. A good rule of thumb is simple: most string and woodwind parts you meet sound exactly as written, while a handful of others, like the clarinet and the trumpet, are the transposers to watch for. For everything we are reading today, the page and the sound line up exactly, so do not let that worry you. It is a detail for later, not a wall in front of you now. So how does a conductor actually read all of this in real time? Here is the secret: they do not read a line. They read a column. Your instinct from reading words is to travel left to right along one staff. A conductor's eye works the other way first. It scans straight down the column to take in everything sounding right now: who is playing, how loud, which notes clash or agree, and only then does it sweep right to see what happens next. Down first, to grasp the whole sound of this instant. Then across, to follow where it goes. A conductor is reading the vertical and the horizontal at the same time, and the vertical, the column, is what holds the ensemble together. Let us read one for real. 3 instruments, 3 different clefs, all from this series, lined up in the same bar. On top, a flute in the treble clef. In the middle, a viola in the alto clef, that movable C clef you met earlier. On the bottom, a cello in the bass clef. First, read straight down the opening column. The flute holds high C, the viola sounds the E beneath it, the cello anchors the low C at the bottom. Listen to that first column sound together, all 3 at once. That stack spells C major, 1 chord spread across 3 instruments and 3 clefs, and you just read it down the page. Now slide right to the next column. The flute steps up, the viola moves, the cello holds its low note underneath. Read down again, and listen. 3 players, 3 clefs, 1 bar, and you read it as one sound and then the next. Now follow a single voice through the texture. The trick a conductor uses to study one player is to ignore everything else and track that one staff straight across the page, the way you pick one voice out of a noisy room and follow only it. Lock onto the cello at the bottom and trace its line left to right, bar after bar, letting the staves above it blur. That is the horizontal read, one part as a melody. Then, whenever you need to, you drop back to the vertical and read the whole column again to hear how that line fits the others. Across for the part, down for the chord. A whole symphony is just those 2 moves, done fast. Trace a line through the texture, then read straight down the column, over and over. The page stops being a wall once you accept that you never read every dot at once. You read shapes. Who enters, who drops out, which family swells, where the loud arrives. The detail is always there to zoom into, but the music lives in those broad strokes, and your eye learns to take them in at a glance. And that is the last piece. Stop and look at how far you have come. You can read a single melody line. You can read its rhythm, its time signature, its dynamics, its articulation. You can read sharps and flats, the treble, bass, alto, and tenor clefs, a chord chart, a guitar tab, and now a full page of staves stacked into one system and read straight down a column. Put all of that together and there is no honest way around it. You can read music. That was the whole goal of everything up to here, and you have reached it. So now we turn a corner. From here on we stop asking what each note is called and start asking how notes relate to each other, the distance from one note to the next. Those distances are called intervals, and they are the door into harmony, into why chords sound the way they do, and into how music is actually built. You can read the notes. Next, we learn what they mean to each other.